In a historical context, this image of an Irish labourer, most likely an itinerant one, is an oddity. Having your portrait taken was an incredibly expensive luxury in the 1850s, costing £2 or 30 shillings, twice the average weekly wage at the time. In a country still recovering from the famine, an agricultural labourer would be making a lot less than this, either making a handful of shillings or, if he was lucky, given a tiny patch of land to farm. In fact, this image is perhaps one of the few accurate images we have of a vanishing Ireland. In 1850, an Irish labourer was usually an agricultural one. This changed as the century progressed, the amount of Irish labourers on the land declining, not only because of immigration, but urbanisation as well. Simply put, building labourers were better paid than their agricultural counterparts. So we can surmise this image was not paid for by the sitter, but taken by the photographer for their own reasons, and it was most likely taken by the middle or the ruling classes. The wet clothing play process was introduced in 1851 and was rare as well as expensive until the 1860s. But some examples come to mind. A landlord's agent called Curry took relatively sympathetic photographs of the local tenants during this period, for instance. This image seems to be an earnest attempt to portray an Irish labourer accurately and with dignity. But the photographer is also a person of their time, so there is perhaps an overly romantic air to the image. While the sitter is dressed in his working attire, the context and composition of the image gives us pause. Is the way he's sitting a little too contrived? The positioning of his shirt perhaps a little too Byron-esque? Was this a deliberately posed image influenced by the period of Romanticism made popular by poets like Shelley and artists like Rossetti? Or was the stiff posture merely a byproduct of the slow exposure time still needed for the wet clothing process, and the open shirt a choice made by the sitter rather than the photographer? It's definitely a question that deserves further exploration.